When Buhari came into government, he had talked before about, oh, the presidential fleet of jets. There are so many. Why does the president need so many? Oga, what is happening still? You are using them, sell the jets. He's supposed to have done that since last year. You know, if you do these things and people know that you are doing this, there's something he did. He didn't buy new cars for himself. He didn't buy a fleet of new presidential cars. That was good. You understand? But more, what will sound more, what Nigerians will see more, the sale of those jets. Sell them, tell Nigerians how much you sold them, and say, okay, you are putting it into agriculture, so number of farmers, maybe 10,000, you give them 1 million naira each. We will know that you are changing something.
Whether change begins with me is a political mantra, or I can't remember what it says, is do the right thing, I think. It's just a matter of semantics, in my opinion. The most important thing is the outcome of these campaigns. So whether it's called change begins with me or do the right thing, it is not as important as how Nigerians embrace it. Now, you rightfully said there are issues with communication and with body language. You want to see the president sell off the aircraft and commit it to whether it be agriculture or solid minerals or whatever areas that we run a nation that things are not done on the spur of the moment. The president doesn't have the right to just say, oh, let's sell the aircraft. You know, the president doesn't have the right to say, oh, you know what, I suggest the House of Reps should reduce their salary. We have the revenue mobilization committee. So this situation that we're faced with, I don't think we should be looking at issues of, oh, how the senators are spending purchasing 109 vehicles at whatever rate. I think if there are issues with budgeting to the legislative chamber or budgeting to the presidency, there's proper channels to deal with these issues. These things don't change overnight because these are systems that are entrenched. These are systems that have been for a while. We've been talking about the issue of legislative reform. It doesn't happen overnight.
He says that there's bureaucracy with the government. The president can't just stand up and say, oh, I'm going to sell off the jets, and the jets are sold. You know, but he's been there since May 29th, and this is September 19th. How long did it take him to approve this Change Begins With Me project, which is a nationwide campaign? It took him just less than 3-4 months to get it approved. So why is it taking him more than a year to sell off the jets? Is there no bureaucracy when it comes to Change Begins With Me? So that's just what I wanted to say regarding what Tony said. The president can actually speak this thing up and say, oh, I entered May 29th. We need to sell these things off before July. You understand? He could have done that. But anyway, that's that for the jet.
Well voted for at the higher level. I said before, sometimes I wonder if the House of Assembly is different country, because I realize that what is going on in the executive is not in synchronization with what is going on in the House of Assembly. At the time that National Orientation Agency came up with this particular campaign, they should have gone to early in the House of Assembly, where each senator or representative will vote and say, I pledge to this campaign, and I'm going to live by this campaign. When they all have one voice, Nigerians will follow them. Until when they begin to communicate the right set of information to the people, for them to be well informed and not be mal-informed, then people will begin to listen to their campaign. We voted for accountability and integrity from the beginning. So Change Begins With Me campaign did not just start today. It started from the election time. Until today, we are still open. We'll meet and fulfill their promises. And that is what Nigerians are waiting for. Until we see them play their own role very well, then Nigerians will begin to follow suit.
The issue of change, I think it has started already. We saw the budget padding saga that just came up and with the National Assembly, and we were told that this is not the first time this has been happening. But we thank God that someone was courageous enough to to speak out, and we all get to know pardon and pardon and pardon. I think the change has started, but the problem is if the people on top will be able to adopt and will be able to adjust, you know, for the entire nation as a whole. And we should remove our selfish interests aside and put the collective interest of everyone on board. I think this will go a long way.
The people that even wrote the speech of the change begins with me, we are having issues with them, you know, criminally copying somebody else's speech. So even the people that wrote the speech, the change has not even begun with them yet.
Welcome back. Now joining us to continue this discussion on the Change Begins With Me program is a legal practitioner and author, Kaide Oyemakinde. It's a pleasure to have you on the program again, Kaide.
Thank you very much.
Well, change begins with me. Now let's even look at your own sector, the judiciary. I mean, what changes do we need to make, or what changes do you guys need to make in your sector before, going public?
Basically, I don't think the judiciary really needs a change like that.
Okay, let me just paraphrase that question. Do you believe change begins with you?
No.
Why?
When the head is rotten, when the head of the fish is rotten, the whole fish is bad. That's
okay,
the primary.
That's like a vague statement. Break it down in pieces.
Good. The president was part of us.
Okay.
Before he got into power.
Exactly.
The vice, and so on and so forth. So they know where the problems are. They feel the pains of the masses. I believe they feel the pains of the masses. So if they get into power, or when they got into power, I expected that these and these are things that they really need to touch immediately they got into power. But here we are. Everybody is still in limbo. So the issue of change, I believe that they ought to change themselves. Because you can't tell us, let me quote the president here, he said that Nigerians should just endure, stand that it's just for a while. I'm not saying endurance at the federal government. Is it at the Senate? Is it presidency? I know, I'm not saying anything. But you want the people to endure. How? Why?
Mean, if you're not seeing endurance, what are you seeing?
Suffering. Because the presidency, they are not enduring. I don't see any cuts in their salaries. Okay, all the governors that are not paying salaries, I would love to ask any governor that has not paid the salaries of workers in the state. Have you paid your whole salary?
Well, it's not the governor's initiative. It is the president's initiative.
Good. Let's move to APC-controlled states, because I want to believe that this is a party thing. Because it will not just say change begins with you. There's a belief that the whole APC garment are a key members of this change begins with you mantra. So if you're saying change begins with you, as the change began with the president, the presidency generally, the executives, the legislators, and so on.
I mean, you keep talking about change beginning with them or them not enduring. I mean, can you be specific in terms of maybe where you want them to change or what you think they're doing that you don't think they are enduring what the Nigerian masses or Nigerian people or Nigerian electorates are enduring?
Good. Let's start like this.
Okay.
The economy is in shambles.
Not a hidden fact.
People are not getting paid. Workers are not getting paid. People are being laid off. Staffs are being laid off. People are downsizing. Organizations are closing, and the likes like that. What is the president trying to do from what has been done or how we got to this stage by other governments, other tenures, other presidents who came into power? What is the change that he's doing away from their own tenure? I've not seen any change. I'm so sorry. I'm still seeing the same thing, just in a different garment. That's how I'm seeing it. So if you want people to change, when you change, people will say, oh, my president is changing. Let us follow suit. But I need a masquerade to be dancing for me to follow the masquerade and say, now, let's dance. The masquerade cannot say, I should be dancing before you start to dance. It is when you dance and I see steps, I take over.
Well, let's take a break and we'll be back in a minute.
Thank you.
Let's take a break and we'll be back shortly. Stay with us.